Hello ladies and gentlemen, Tevaron here, and welcome back to some more Magic Arena gameplay. So you may be asking yourself, what is this pile I see in front of me? Well, in our last video, I talked about a mono blue storm deck that I've been playing around with a little bit. Having a lot of fun, not really winning a whole lot, but it does some really sweet things. And you guys seemed interested enough in seeing this deck function that I figured we'd make a video about it. I first learned about this deck through Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, over on the MTG Goldfish YouTube channel. He made a video about this a couple of weeks ago, and I found it extremely intriguing, so I threw it together myself. So what is this deck trying to do? Well, our win condition is Aetherflux Reservoir, a 4-cost artifact that says whenever you cast a spell, you gain 1 life for each spell you've cast this turn. Pay 50 life. Aetherflux Reservoir deals 50 damage to any target. So our basic plan of winning is to get over 50 life, then lose 50 of that life to deal 50 damage to our opponent and just outright kill them in one shot. So one important thing to know about Aetherflux Reservoir is it doesn't have to be in play for the spell count to increase. If you cast a couple of spells before you cast Aetherflux Reservoir and then cast it and cast more spells, you will begin gaining life at whatever the total spell count is. So if you cast 2 things, then Aetherflux Reservoir, then when you cast your next spell, you will gain 4 life, 1 for each of the 3 spells you cast before it, and then 1 for the spell itself. And now that we know how we plan to win, how do we get to the point of casting enough spells to get our life total over 50? Let's find out, shall we? While Aetherflux Reservoir is our kill condition, the actual most important card in the deck is Inspiring Statuary. 3-cost artifact that says non-artifact spells you cast have improvise. So while this is in play, all of the spells in our decks that are not artifacts can now have artifacts tap to pay their colorless mana requirements. This allows us to cast some fairly expensive spells very cheaply, land requirement wise. So we want to get Inspiring Statuary out on the board as soon as possible and hopefully not have our opponents kill it, because it's a whole lot harder to make this deck work without an Inspiring Statuary in play. So what are some of the spells that we are wanting to use this to improvise out? Well, some of them are draw spells, such as Reverse Engineer, which has Improvise itself, so we don't actually need the Statuary out to cast it. A 5-mana sorcery that draws us 3 cards. We can tap artifacts to pay for the colorless portion of its casting cost. Also on the card draw front is Paradoxical Outcome, which does not have Improvise on its own. For 3 and a blue, we have an instant that says return any number of target non-land, non-token permanents you control to their owner's hands. Draw a card for each card returned to your hand this way. This is sort of the engine of the deck. Once we have an Aetherflux Reservoir out, we can use this to return a bunch of very low-cost artifacts to our hand, draw a bunch of cards, replay those low-cost artifacts for additional spell triggers, and thereby go off, get above 50 life, and nug our opponent for 50. So what are these low-cost artifacts that we're talking about? Well, we are running a playset of Ornithopter, not for any attacking or blocking purposes, though it can occasionally block and live, but simply because it is basically a Mox in this deck. Once we have Inspiring Statuary out, we can tap it for a colorless mana to help us play our spells. Once we bounce it with Paradoxical Outcome, we can play it again for free, just exactly what this deck wants to be doing. In that same vein, we're also running 3 Mox Amber, another 0 casting cost artifact, that on its own can tap to add 1 mana of any color among legendary creatures and planeswalkers you control. Now, we don't actually have any legendary creatures or planeswalkers main deck, though we do have a few in the sideboard, but Inspiring Statuary makes this able to function as a mana source regardless of that. Next up, we have a playset of Renegade Map, a 1-cost artifact that enters the battlefield tapped. We can sacrifice it to search our library for a basic land card, reveal it and put it into our hand, then shuffle our library. Renegade Map and its counterpart here, a 1-of Traveler's Amulet, allow us to play a very low land count. In fact, this deck's only playing 18 lands, because one of the ways that we can lose is when we start going off and drawing a bunch of cards is drawing a bunch of lands. So these function sort of as lands while also upping our low-cost artifact count, and if we don't need to sacrifice them to hit our land drops, then they can just improvise to cast other spells. Traveler's Amulet is basically Renegade map number 5, except we have to pay a mana to sacrifice it instead of just tapping it. Also, it can be sacrificed the turn it comes into play, as it doesn't come into play tapped, and you don't even need to tap it anyway, so we can actually improvise with this and then sack it for a land if that situation that we need to do that ever arises. Next up, we have 3 Glint Nest Crane to help us find our important artifacts. For 1 and a blue, we have a 1/3 flyer. When it enters the battlefield, we get to look at the top 4 cards of our library. We may reveal an artifact card from among them and put it into our hand, put the rest on the bottom of our library in any order. This helps us to find our pieces that we're needing to go off, while also being a blocker to help keep our life total above 0. Another one of our low-cost artifacts that also helps to find our pieces is Prophetic Prism. For 2 mana, we have an artifact that, when it enters the battlefield, we draw a card, which is the most important part of this artifact. Or we can pay a colorless and tap it to make 1 mana of any color, which occasionally does come up because we do have several colorless lands in this deck, and sometimes we're not able to find our actual blue sources, so Prophetic Prism can help with that. Then the last card that can be considered part of the actual combo is Baral's Expertise. For 3 and 2 blue, we have a sorcery. Return up to 3 target artifacts and or creatures to their owner's hands, which can be ours or the opponent's. A lot of times they're going to be just ours so that we can replay them again, though it can be played defensively to get a bunch of creatures off the board so that we can live a couple more turns. The second half of this card is also very important for us. You may cast a card with converted mana cost 4 or less from your hand without paying its mana cost. So this is typically the card that lets us start our combo. So we play this, bounce 3 of our own artifacts, hopefully all of them 0 cost or 1 cost, then play Aetherflux Reservoir for free. We've got some spell count on the stack at that point. We can replay our low-cost artifacts, get a bunch of triggers from Aetherflux Reservoir, and hopefully go off at that point. And Baral's Expertise is another one of those cards that benefits greatly from having an inspiring statuary on the board. So the last of the non-land cards in our deck are just utility cards at this point. We've got 3 Metallic Rebuke. We are an artifact-based deck. Why not have an improvised counterspell? A lot of times this catches the opponent off guard as they don't expect us to actually be running counterspells when they see what we're doing. And also 2 Commit to Memory to deal with pesky non-land permanents, such as a Cast Out or an Ixalan's Binding that is taking away one of our combo pieces, and in a pinch we can also do the Aftermath of Memory to draw a new 7 cards and hopefully get what we need to go off. Then our land base is very, very simple. We are running 13 islands, 1 Inventor's Fair, mostly for the life gain when we have 3 or more artifacts out. Occasionally we can also use its search ability of pay 4 and tap and sacrifice it to search our library for an artifact card and reveal that card and put it into our hand. Mostly we will use that ability versus very slow mid-range and or control decks, as versus aggro we generally don't have enough time to be doing that. And finally we are running 4 Zalfrin Void to give us a little bit of scry value and hopefully scry things we don't want to the bottom of our deck so that we can actually draw things that we do want. So what are we doing with the sideboard? Well, sideboarding with this deck is very interesting. Because it's a combo deck, we have to be very careful not to bring in too many cards, as if we dilute our combo pieces enough, then we won't be able to go off and our deck just will not function. So generally we can only bring in 2 to 4-ish cards in most matchups. In control matchups, we can actually bring in a lot more as we're trying to go to the long game, and we are able to dilute our deck just a little bit more and grind out. But we are running a Singleton Silent Gravestone to help thwart graveyard-based synergies. We are running 3 Baral, Chief of Compliance. This is one of our legendary creatures that we can bring in afterboard. Hopefully, after opponents have sided out a lot of their creature removal, this will help us to go off a little bit cheaper by reducing the cost of our sorcery and instant spells, and also allowing our Mox Amber to actually produce blue mana, which is a big upside for us. We are running 4 Negate, because we don't want our important pieces to get counterspelled if at all possible. 2 Sorcerous Spyglass to help us deal with pesky opponent cards such as Planeswalkers. 3 Padim, another legendary creature, gives artifacts we control hexproof. At the beginning of our upkeep, if we control the artifact with the highest converted mana cost or are tied for the highest converted mana cost, we can draw a card. Also has a fairly beefy body as far as that goes as a 1/4, so able to block quite well. And then finally, a pair of River's Rebuke. This is a card that you may be tempted to bring in versus aggro. Don't do that. It's too slow. This is much better versus mid-range, which are basically the only matchups we would want to bring River's Rebuke in against. So that is the deck list. Let's play a few games, maybe even win a couple games, maybe even win a match. Don't get your hopes up, but hopefully we'll do something really sweet. Alright, so this is an interesting hand. We've only got one land, but we do have a Traveler's Amulet. Unfortunately, we don't have any 2-drop stuff. If we can sack Traveler's Amulet and get a land and then hit a third Inspiring Statuary can make this hand go off, I think we're going to keep this. We generally don't want to mulligan any hands that can hit 2 mana, as we have so few lands in the deck. Doing that's kind of inviting disaster. Hopefully our opponent's on something slow. They did mulligan to 6 there. Alright, we will go Island and Traveler's Amulet. If we don't top deck a land next turn, we'll sacrifice that to make sure and hit our land drop. Though, if our deck's kind, maybe we will just hit our second land drop. Then we can sacrifice this on our opponent's next turn to make sure we get to play Inspiring Statuary. Got a Llanowar Elf there. We did not hit our land drop, so let's go ahead and sacrifice that. Still hoping to hit a third land on time next turn. We don't want to play our Ornithopter or other 0-cost cards out unless we have a specific reason, as these get to add to our spell count on the turn that we actually get to go off. Although we will play it out if we need to do something like have enough artifacts in play to improvise something, or if we have Inventor's Fair out and we want to trigger the life gain every turn. There's the Mox Amber. Unfortunately, that is not going to actually produce any mana. So we are just going to be passing here. Don't want opponent to be able to kill our Ornithopter. We could play it out to try to block this elf, but I think exposing it to creature removal is a bad idea. Luckily, our opponent does seem to be on a bit of a slower deck. But with Winding Constrictor out, we could very easily die quite quickly here. Well, we're going to play Renegade Map. I don't have high hopes for us being able to pull this game out. At this point, we have just gotten way too slow a start, but we're going to keep on playing and try. I could set a stop in our upkeep to sack this, but I would have rather have drawn a land naturally, which we didn't actually do there. Well, the opponent didn't add anything to the board, so that's good for us. I think that we will start by sacrificing our Renegade Map. Going ahead and getting an island. And as much as I would like to Glint Nest Crane to look for pieces and also to potentially block, I think Inspiring Statuary is a much more important thing to get into play. Hopefully opponent doesn't have a way to remove that. If we untap with it, we can start doing some stuff by playing out our 0-cost artifacts and improvising some things. We are down to 7. See, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They are not quite showing lethal on board, but we should be playing in a manner that kind of expects them to have lethal. So let's play out our artifacts here. Do that. We've got a second Brawl's Expertise. So I think we're better off this turn and playing Brawl's Expertise to kind of bounce their board. So we're going to do that. We'll return these. We are going to improvise here. Yep, there is the removal that I was talking about. I wanted to save the Ornithopter from. At least we got one activation out of it. And for free, we will play our other Inspiring Statuary, which will allow us to also Glint Nest Crane this turn with Improvise. And hopefully we can find a Reservoir to cast off this Brawl's Expertise next turn. Well, bye-bye Glint Nest Crane. Don't really care about losing you. There is the Reservoir. That is what we wanted to see. Not sure if we can pull this out, but we're in a lot better position than we were. Alright, opponent dropped their hand. They have no artifact removal in play. They could still top deck it. There's a second reservoir. A lot of times it's hard to get two into play, though. Let's see. I think we definitely Baral's expertise here. This time we're going to bounce our Mox Amber, and then the two biggest threats on the opponent's side. We will improvise with these. Then we will play our Reservoir for free. Play our Mox Amber. Gain 3 life because we played 3 spells. Commit. We actually can't cast Commit. I don't know why it's lighting up like that. But we're going to pass the turn. If they don't top deck an artifact removal, I think we're in good shape now. We can start drawing a bunch of cards with Reverse Engineer. Bristling Hydra, sure, that is scary. Hopefully, though, we're going to gain a blue billion life on our turn. Just hit end turn here. We don't have any responses at this point. Alright, Renegade map. That is interesting. We can't actually improvise with it this turn, so casting it is not something I want to be doing right off the bat. Let's go ahead and Reverse Engineer. We will improvise. Draw some cards, gain a life. Alright, that's a little unfortunate. Was really hoping to draw some zero-cost artifacts. We can go ahead and Renegade map. We might just be dead here. They've got 9, so 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 because of the Constrictor. This is only going to gain us 2. Yeah, we're dead. Unfortunate. We were really close to being able to start going off there. All they need to do is pump this Hydra, and they will kill us. And they're going to. 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep. Good game, opponent. So against this deck, I think we do want to bring in our River's Rebukes. Hopefully they're siding out their creature removal. I could also bring in Baral and or Padim. I think we want to cut our 2 Commit to Memory as they don't really have any exile effects like Cast Out or Ixalan's Binding. I think we're going to cut 1 Glint Nest Crane and 1 Paradoxical Outcome to bring in 2 Padim to kind of protect our stuff. I do expect our opponent to be bringing in some artifact removal. I would like to fit another Padim in, but I don't really think that we can remove anything else. We definitely can't take out the Renegade Maps or Traveler's Amulet, as they are basically lands in this deck. So let's just submit as is. Hopefully we'll have a bit better luck with our draws this time. Alright, that is not exactly better luck. We have to mulligan this. We don't have a second land or an artifact that can fetch a second land. Alright, that is also pretty bad. We've got a lot of high-cost stuff. I think we have to mulligan it too. Alright, at this point we've got to keep this. We actually have 2 lands, basically. Hopefully our scry is good. No, we don't want to Reverse Engineer at this point. We will go Island Renegade map. And we've probably lost this game by mulliganing to 5. It's just the way it is sometimes. You don't really play decks like this to beat your opponent. You play decks like this to do sweet things occasionally, which I hope that we can actually do at some point during this session. Alright, opponent off to quite a good start here. And I'm not going to sack this Renegade map right now. I'm going to hope to go ahead and draw a land naturally. We didn't. So we will sack it so that we can play our Inspiring Statuary, which, if it lives, will allow us to play Padim next turn, which is sort of defensive. Also, if it lives, will allow us to draw some extra cards, maybe unmulligan ourselves a little bit. Oh, opponent is also on blue here, so Sultai. That Hydra, as always, is quite scary. They have got a really good clock going right now. Ornithopter. I think we have to play Padim here. We could also reverse engineer. See, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 would take us to 8. Maybe we just reverse engineer. Hope to draw the stuff we need to go off next turn. Yeah, I think 3 cards is what we want. So let's reverse engineer. Go ahead and improvise. Alright, well that's Baral's expertise into Reservoir if our artifacts live. Don't know if it's going to be enough at this point. Our opponent does have a lot of damage coming our way. They drew a card with Siphoner. Just fingers crossed for no removal. Don't kill our Ornithopter, don't kill our Statuary. They didn't, that is awesome. So we do absolutely want to get our Inventor's Fair into play. And now... see, let's tap that. I want to leave a blue up. Let's go Baral's expertise. We're going to bounce this. We're going to bounce this and this. We're not going to target this Hydra as it can just gain hexproof in response. Let's go ahead and improvise. And they've got a negate. And that's the game. Good game, opponent. Alright, this is actually not a very bad hand. We've got some stuff going on, so we will keep it. Once again, we would love to draw a second land naturally and not have to sacrifice our Traveler's Amulet to go fetch it. But we will do so if we need to. Holding our 0-cost artifacts until we actually have a use to play them. Looks like we're up against Mono Red, which is, as you might imagine, a really bad matchup for us, since they have an incredibly quick clock. I have managed to beat them in the past. Don't know if we'll manage to pull that off here, though. Alright, we didn't draw land, so let's go get one. Next turn, I think we'll probably play Glint Nest Crane as a blocker. Though if we don't draw a land naturally, we might want to play Prophetic Prism to try to find a land. As Glint Nest Crane can't actually get lands for us, though it can get Renegade maps. Which is obviously not the same thing. They are a lot slower. Well, all 3 of our Aetherflux Reservoirs in hand is not really where we want to be. Opponent's actually going fairly slow here, so let's go ahead and play a Prophetic Prism. Baral's expertise, that is a card that we want. However, we also need mana to be able to cast that card. Alright, do you have something to crew your Heart of Kirin with? You do. Alright, taking 5, going to 12. If they have another creature that can crew Heart of Kirin next turn, we'll take 8. Which won't have us quite dead, but very close to it. There's a land naturally. That is nice to see. However, we still need more. Thing is, we don't have Improvise for Baral's expertise unless we have Inspiring Statuary out. Let's go for Glint Nest Crane. See if we can keep it alive and be able to block something. There's Inspiring Statuary. Have to take that. And again, still no use to play out our Mox Amber. Soulscar Mage, sure. If you got 2 spells, that can crew Heart of Kirin. Hopefully that's not the case. Alright, crewing up Heart. Are we just getting attacked with that then? No, you are attacking with Beaumont Courier also. Or not. Alright, so our Crane held Beaumont Courier at bay. The question is, do we soak up 4 damage here? If we soak up 4 damage here, next turn they can attack for 4, 5, 6 at minimum. Yeah, I think we block. Alright, a second Inspiring Statuary. We've not been having very good luck drawing cards we need from our deck at this point. See, we will end the turn. Hopefully they won't kill our Inspiring Statuary. These decks do run some number of abrades, though not always in the main. If we can survive this turn, we can gain some life next turn. We can Baral's Expertise. Well, first we'll play out Mox Amber, which will add to our storm count. Then we can play Baral's Expertise, bounce that, bounce 2 of the opponent's things, play our Reservoir, replay Mox Amber. I think we might be dead here. See, 8, 9, 10, so we're not just dead on board. We're going to 2. We're probably just dead the turn after unless we go off really hard on our turn, which I don't think we're going to be able to do. Maybe we can. Let's play out our 0-cost artifacts. That's 1 spell, 2 spells. Then we can Baral's Expertise. We're going to bounce Ornithopter, Mox Amber, and Heart of Kirin. Then we will improvise. Play out a Reservoir. So that's 4 spells, I believe. So this should gain us 5 life. This should gain us 6 life. And let's see, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They can kill this. Yeah, that's all we can do this turn. We're not just dead on board, though we could still be dead here. And our hand's not super impressive. If we could draw a Paradoxical Outcome or a Reverse Engineer, we'd be in okay shape. There's another Chain Whirler. Shrink our Ornithopter down. We're definitely not going to be able to block with it this turn. I do expect Glorybringer to exert on it. Hopefully not, though. If it doesn't, I probably won't block 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Just Glorybringer? I don't know why opponent just swung with Glorybringer, but sure. Don't think it really matters. If they get another turn, we're just dead. So there's Reverse Engineer, which is what we wanted. So let's try to go for that. We will improvise. So it's not really what we were wanting to see there. See, we can scry. A land. Do we want a land? I don't think so. So we can Glint Nest Crane. We can't actually Paradoxical Outcome here. I think we Glint Nest Crane trying to hit a 1 or 0 cost artifact. Okay, gaining up to 11. There's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So again, we're not just dead on board here. Ornithopter. Yeah, we'll take the Ornithopter. Go ahead and gain some more life. And we may be able to pull this out if we can survive. We got Paradoxical Outcome the next turn. Really wish we had 1 more mana to play out this Prophetic Prism. Alas, 'tis not to be. Yeah, opponent sacrificing Bomat Courier, probably digging for either damage or an Abrade to get rid of our reservoir. If they get rid of our reservoir, we would probably need another Baral's Expertise to have a chance. Alright, cycling. So now the opponent just attacking with an Exerted Glorybringer seems like a big problem for them, though we could still just be dead. Soulscar Mage, so they can crew Heart of Cure in here. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's still not dead on board. If they allow me, I will block with this Glint Nest Crane, though. So 6, 7. Not going to block with the Ornithopter. I really want it to survive. Alright, Zalfrin Void. Well, we definitely want to play that before we play Outcome. Yeah, we don't want to be drawing another island. So, we could play Prism, which only actually costs us 1. I think we'll just start with Paradoxical Outcome here. So let's play that. Going to bounce Ornithopter, Mox Amber, and Prophetic Prism. And we will improvise with those that we're bouncing. So trigger Reservoir, draw 3 cards. Baral's Expertise is really good here. So we may actually be able to get there. Cast that. Let's cast Baral's Expertise. We will target this, this, and that. Then we will improvise. And we will play out another Reservoir for free. Go Mox Amber. That's fine. Both do the same thing. Up to 34. Yes. Up to 48. We're going to get there. Up to 64. Pay 50 life, do 50 damage. Yes. Alright, so that was definitely by the skin of our teeth. Alright, I think we're definitely going to take out Commit to Memory. I think we're also going to take out 1 Glint Nest Crane and bring in all of these Padeens. And again, I just don't think we can afford to take out more to bring in more, so let's submit. Alright, on the draw this game. And that's a lot of lands. We will be able to cast our stuff. We don't really have any artifacts, but these voids let us scry, so I think we're going to keep this. We could draw 1 or 2 low-cost artifacts. We can turn on Metallic Rebuke in fairly early fashion. Alright, Bomat Courier, best card for the opponent to have on turn 1. Mox Amber, that helps. We're not going to play it this turn because we want to Zalfrin and Scry. Prophetic Prism. Yeah, we probably want that. Yeah, we'll leave that there for now. Pass back. I don't think we're going to cast it next turn, though. I think we'll play out Island and Mox Amber and hold up Metallic Rebuke, hopefully to stem the bleeding a bit. Maybe opponent's stuck on 1 land. Fingers crossed. Nope. Too much to hope for. Duress. Alright, what you taking? Probably Metallic Rebuke. If they take that, we definitely will cast our Prophetic Prism next turn. Nope, they took our Mox. So, still going to cast Prophetic Prism next turn. So we're not able to actually turn on our Metallic Rebuke. Go ahead and Scry again. Baral's Expertise. We already have one of those. Would rather draw one of our other pieces, like Statuary and or Reservoir. Right, a second Prism, sure. One good thing about the opponent duressing us there is it might have slowed them down a bit. Well, there's a Chain Whirler we would have loved to have been able to counter. Right, another Prism. So let's play that. Ornithopter, that's a decent draw. Let's play our island. Now we've got Metallic Rebuke up. Going to hold this Ornithopter. If we can survive long enough to draw an Aetherflux Reservoir, I think we've got a shot. Going to counter pretty much anything the opponent does here. Because we're not going to be able to hold Metallic Rebuke up forever. Going to actually have to tap our stuff to cast things. So hopefully they play a spell that we can counter this turn. That is what that is. So, for sure, counter that. So, opponent's one land away from being able to Glorybringer. So, if they Glorybringer, they can exert, because I'm going to play Padim, they can exert on Padim, do 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, which is not lethal to us. And that will stop the Glorybringer from untapping the next turn. An island. I actually think we want the island. Yeah, we need to get to 5 mana since we don't have an Inspiring Statuary. So we're still at least 2 turns off from being able to do any combo type stuff. And actually, I think we're going to play Ornithopter out as an additional blocker now, since Padim will protect it until she dies. And if Padim manages to live, then we can start drawing some extra cards. Alright, I don't think we block here. We held the Bomat Courier at bay. Do not want them to be able to kill Padim with a 2 damage spell. Or another Chain Whirler. There's the second Chain Whirler. They always have it. Luckily no Soulscar Mage out, so our stuff is not actually getting shrunk. Another Bomat Courier, though. Right, there's the island that we put on top. Then Reservoir for turn. That's really good. Can we actually go off here? We can cast Baral's Expertise. Play out Reservoir. We'll bounce Ornithopter. Probably these 2 Chain Whirlers. That'll slow them down a lot. I think we need to do that. So Expertise. Say bounce, bounce, bounce. Reservoir for free. Padim's protecting that from an Abrade. Go ahead and get a life gain trigger here. And we are not going to attack. We want to hold those Bomat Couriers at bay if we can. Paradoxical Outcome would like us to have another 0-cost artifact. But I guess we can bounce these Prophetic Prisms. Probably won't be able to replay them. Maybe one of them if we get a land either for our draws or from Paradoxical Outcome. So attacking with both. I'm not going to block. I want Padim to live. I don't think preventing 1 damage is worth Lightning Strike taking Padim away from us and losing our protection on our stuff. Alright, let's draw some cards. There's an island. There's a Renegade map. That helps us storm-wise. So once we got 6. Think we just outcome here? Yeah. Let's tap all the colorless things first. Paradoxical Outcome. We'll bounce all of these. Maybe we'll draw some more zero-cost stuff. We didn't, but I think playing 2 Renegade maps is better than playing 1 Prophetic Prism here. Next turn we can chain off Prophetic Prisms for more triggers on Reservoir. Last map. Gain 4. I think we're in decent shape here. Just depending. Going to pass again. Opponent's willing to attack through Padim here. We're definitely not going to block. If they have a Glorybringer or 2 burn spells to kill her, then, you know, that's fine. But we are not going to make it easy for them. 3, 4, 5 coming. We'll take that. What we would love to draw is a Reverse Engineer. No blockers. I think that would put us way ahead here. As long as it doesn't draw us a bunch of lands, which it shouldn't. We've got 8 out. There's only 10 lands left in the deck. Mox Amber's a great draw. Okay, Inspiring Statuary. Another Paradoxical Outcome would be great here now. Start with some Prophetic Prisms. Reverse Engineer, that's something we're in the market for. I think we go for one more. Actually, let's not. Let's Reverse Engineer right off the bat. Tap you. Tap you. Tap you. Alright, more zero-cost stuff. Awesome. Up to 19. Up to 23. We're not going to be able to get there this turn. We'll Prophetic Prism. Another Mox. We'll hold that for now. We can play it out and just have the other one go away. Do that. Actually, our Mox makes mana, so... Oh, no, not you. Where's the Mox? There it is. Make some mana. We'll play you. We'll keep the untapped one. Play our Prophetic Prism. So if we draw a zero-cost artifact here, we win. That's not what that is, but I think we've got this next turn. Opponent would need to be able to kill Padim and have removal for our Reservoir to win here. No attackers. No use in dealing 1 damage to the opponent when we're going to deal 50 in one go. Duress. Well, that's unfortunate. We're going to lose our Paradoxical Outcome. So I guess we're not just winning next turn now. Yep, go ahead and attack. We are not blocking. We want to draw our extra cards from Padim. So a lot of cards under that Bomat Courier there. No blocks. Yep, there's that other Chain Whirler we knew about. Alright, something good. Glintnest Crane may be enough. Let's go ahead and cast that. Guess we could have improvised it. Probably should have. Ornithopter, that's probably just game. Statuary. Statuary. And reservoir to your face. Sweet! Got there again. We managed to win a match with this deck. Awesome. Alright, so 1-1 with Mono Blue Paradoxical Storm. This hand is great, as much as any hand with this deck can be great. We are definitely going to keep this. We've got Renegade Map into Prophetic Prism. We've got Ornithopter to Reverse Engineer on turn 3, which seems good as long as our other artifacts live. Yep, I think we are in good shape to actually do something this game. Whether that doing something is winning or not, that remains to be seen. Well, no play from the opponent on the first turn is quite nice for us. We definitely play out Prophetic Prism here. Inspiring Statuary, that is definitely a piece we want. We're going to pass. Alright, green-white, huh? Walking Ballista, sure. Not super scared of Walking Ballista at this point, though it could get to there. Yeah, Ornithopter now. And Reverse Engineer. Help me pay for my spell, please, artifacts. Hopefully we'll hit one land here, at least. There we go. Got our wish. So we've got Baral's Expertise. We need to get an Aetherflux Reservoir now. Glintnest Crane. Don't think we want that. Then we'll play out our other Renegade Map. We have another Reverse Engineer to play now. Yeah, that's just a 0/2 flyer that doesn't really do anything except help us cast our other spells and up our storm count. So is opponent going to sacrifice both Ballistas to kill our Ornithopter? I think we would win in that exchange. Seems like they're not in for that. So we could play Inspiring Statuary here. I think we're more on the plan of Reverse Engineer, hope to draw another land so we can Prophetic Prism again. So let's Reverse Engineer. We will improvise. Okay, we got another land, a really good land too. Helps us gain some life. Go ahead and Prophetic Prism. I held up the other Renegade Map in case we didn't hit a land so that we could sack it and make our land drop. Alright, we're going to make our land drop next turn. We're just going to pass here. 3 Inspiring Statuaries is kind of unfortunate. But we did draw our Aetherflux Reservoir. We still need a Paradoxical Outcome or something of that ilk to actually go off. So I probably don't want to drop Reservoir next turn, as in green-white they almost certainly have some sort of removal for it. Gain ourselves a life. Opponent's only got a 1 damage clock right now, which is quite okay by us. So we're going to play our Void. Traveler's Amulet. Nope, not what we're looking for. Now I think we play our Inspiring Statuary, which will allow us to hold up Commit. And I think we're just going to pass here. Cast Out? Do we commit that? I think we let it resolve. Then we can commit it at the end of our opponent's turn. Yep, you got it. They may play something that we are more in the market to get rid of, and we do have some more Inspiring Statuaries in hand. If they play something we'd rather commit at this point. That's 5. Still not blocking because I don't want our Ornithopter to die. They could do 1 damage with the Ballista, then remove a counter post-combat to finish it off. Lyra. Do we care about Lyra? I don't think we do. Sure. Go to end of turn. Why is that not lit up? I guess I can still cast it. Oh, we don't have a statuary out, so we can't do that. Never mind, I'm an idiot. Sure, that's fine. Draw. Mox Amber. So we could expertise. Play out Reservoir. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 damage they could do next turn. I think we just want to play our other Inspiring Statuary. So let's do that. Play out our island, still holding on to this stuff. And we'll pass back. Naturalize. Main deck, Naturalize. That's a little bit of a tilt. Let's go ahead and commit the cast out. Get our other statuary back. Yep, you can get rid of that one. Ixalan's Binding, huh? Alright, looks like you are determined to get rid of our statuaries forever. You got it. Not much I can do. Yeah, no blockers. Go to my turn. Triggering gain some life. Let's draw something good here. Another island. I mean, it's not horrible, I guess. So they got one card in hand. I think now we kind of have to go for Baral's Expertise. Don't think we want to bounce Ixalan's Binding, because that would just let them replay it on our Reservoir. So let's play out Mox Amber to add to our spell count. Then, let's see, let's tap you guys. We want to bounce you, and you. And play out our Reservoir for free. Sadly, we don't have the means to draw any more than one spell this turn, but we're going to try and hit something good. Right, up to 15. Reverse Engineer, Paradoxical Outcome. Metallic Rebuke's okay-ish, I guess. Don't actually have the means to cast it this turn. Ornithopter. Up to 26, so we're not dying this turn. Though if they have another Ixalan's Binding, we're pretty dead. We only have one more commit in deck to deal with a card like this. Alright, no blocks. We really need a card draw spell. Looks like opponent's thinking about killing our Ornithopter. What are you targeting? Oh, putting a counter on? Okay, that's fine. After damage seems like a bad time to do that. Yep, draw. Commit. Okay, that helps. We've got Metallic Rebuke up too. We can sacrifice our Inventor's Fair and go and get another Reservoir or a Prophetic Prism. 3, 4. We can't actually cast the second Reservoir this turn, though we could cast the Prophetic Prism. We could Memory, hoping to draw a bunch of zero-cost artifacts. Let's see, 5, 6, 7, 8. They could do 9. 10, 11, 12, 13 damage next turn. I think we're just going to pass for now. Alright, there's the cast out we committed before. Adding the counter pre-damage this turn, it looks like. Okay. So we could lower our shields to sacrifice this Inventor's Fair, but then when they cast out, we couldn't commit it. I think we're just going to go to our turn. When we could Metallic Rebuke it, though, couldn't we? All right, let's do that. So, I think we want another Reservoir. Feel like they should go for cast out here. Even though we have the answer, they don't know that. Also lets us gain a life off of Reservoir. Okay, go to my turn. Prophetic Prism. Okay, so 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10, 11 because of their mana here, plus 6 is 17. So we can Reservoir plus Prism, which will not gain us enough. To survive that, we would need to block Dawnbringer, but they could kill this with Walking Ballista, at which point they would be doing 15 damage. Let's see, 1, 2, so that would gain us 4 to 16. Kind of feel like we need to hold up commit for Lyra so that we can survive. So let's go for Prophetic Prism. See what we draw. Mox Amber. So we can Reservoir this. So that's 1, 2, 3. So this would gain us 6. Yeah, I think that's the play. Also gaining some life off the Reservoir from the one already in play. Then we will Mox Amber. Yes. And doesn't really matter which one we keep. I don't think we've played a land this turn, so let's sacrifice this Renegade map to get one. There we go, and pass. So just kind of treading water here, trying to get to a draw spell. Merfolk Branchwalker, sure. So that cuts some damage off of what they're capable of, because now they don't have enough mana to double put counters on Walking Ballista. They got a Plains in hand, that's good to know. Again, we're not dead, so I don't think we block. Yep. We are taking a lot, just not lethal yet. My turn. There we go. That's what we've been looking for. Alrighty. Let's reverse engineer. Go ahead and tap for improvise. That's fine. They both do the same thing. Doesn't matter how they're stacked. Alright, paradoxical outcome was really good there. So let's... Let's paradoxical outcome first, I think. 2, 3, 4. Sadly, inspiring statuary is under Ixalan's binding. Let's see, I think we'll take that, 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 that. Let's just draw all the cards. Let's leave our reservoirs in play. Alright, killing our Ornithopter in response, so we're drawing one less card. Also one less storm because we can't play it back out. Hopefully we'll draw some more zero cost stuff though, off of this outcome. Opponent is almost to the point that one activation of Reservoir is not going to be able to kill them too. So that's kind of scary. Alright, so we did draw some more zero cost stuff. Start with a Void. We don't want to draw another land. Yep. Up to 23. Mox Amber. Up to 31. Other Mox Amber, yes. Think we may be able to get there. I haven't bothered to do the math, but I think we have enough. The Renegade map. In fact, we may have enough on this one, though we need to get out of Walking Ballista range. Which we can do with Traveler's Amulet. And opponent has had enough. Awesome. Did not think we were going to get there that game. Ooh. So, opponent has a lot of permanent removal in the form of cast outs, Ixalan's Binding, even main deck Naturalize. Don't know why you would play main deck Naturalize over Thrashing Brontodon, but sure. Maybe they just don't have the Brontodons. So I think Padim definitely needs to come in. River's Rebuke would also probably be pretty good. The question is, what do we cut to do that? Well, we definitely cut a Glint Nest Crane. I don't think we can afford to cut Commit to Memories with what they've got going on. So maybe it's just Padims. And if it's just Padims, I guess we cut one paradoxical outcome because it's harder to make work than Reverse Engineer. And then maybe we cut just one Ornithopter. I don't think we can afford to cut our stuff that fetches lands. Yeah, not real sure about this sideboard here, but we're going to submit it. Okay, unfortunately we cannot keep this. We are on the draw though, so that's okay. Yeah, we'll keep this. Do we want a third land? Let's see. I guess we probably want a third land. We'll guarantee that we can Prophetic Prism on turn 3. Or not Prophetic Prism, but Reverse Engineer on turn 3. We're going to hold the Ornithopter. Don't want it to die before it gets to improvise for us. Okay, they got a really aggressive start this game. Probably not going to be able to grind like we did last time. Okay, got a Forest, got a Harvester on top. See what we get off of our Prism. Glint Nest Crane, sure. So next turn, I think Reverse Engineer's probably the play. Alright, are you a token deck? Did we just not see tokens? Or maybe you just got Shauna in there? She's real big right now for a 2-drop, that's for sure. So at minimum, we're going to be taking, see, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 next turn. Well, not at minimum, so one less than that, 10. Though if they can play this out and crew it with another thing, then it would be even more. So, yeah, I think we reverse engineer. Go ahead and improvise that. I guess there's also some world where we could just be dead this next turn. That was not the best of draws from those. Let's see, Rishkar, we're going to be taking a absolute ton of damage this turn. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Going to 4. I wonder if we can even survive at this point. So we could block with Ornithopter's paradoxical outcome. That would be still enough to kill us. Yeah, I think we're just dead here, but we'll go for Glint Crane. Yeah, didn't hit anything. So we could block 3. That's still enough to kill us. Yep. Good game, opponent. Much more aggressive draw that time. So even if we had brought in River's Rebuke, we would not have been able to cast it that game. Opponent just had way too aggressive a hand. I think we're just going to submit with what we have. Just hope to have a little less aggression from the opponent and a little better draws from ourselves. Alright, not the best, but I think it's fine. I would have loved not to have these 2 commits. But I don't think we can afford to mulligan this. Go Island Pass. If we manage to draw another 0-cost artifact next turn, we'll probably play out the Ornithopter so that we can get Inventor's Fair online. Start gaining some life. We did not, so end the turn. Need a 3rd land. Would love to play this Inspiring Statuary next turn. There's a Servant of the Conduit from the opponent. So not as blistering fast a start this time, thankfully. Though they could ramp up pretty quickly. Let's Prophetic Prism. Trying to draw a land as opposed to an artifact. Why we're not Glint Craning. So I think we're going to Ornithopter here to start triggering our Inventor's Fair. That is if they don't have removal for one of these artifacts. Argument could be made that we should have just held it to try to reverse engineer next turn. Well, there's a Thrashing Brontodon. Looks like they're not going to use it this turn, though. Which is good for us. Crane, no, I think we go for reverse engineer. Oh, wait, we can't. We do not have a second blue. We could filter it, but that would tap this to where we couldn't improvise with it. That is sad. So reverse engineer is claiming that we can cast it, but we actually can't. So let's Glint Crane. And guess we take Renegade Map, even though it's really, really slow. Yeah, not having a second blue there really, really hurt us. Alright, Walking Ballista for 2. Attacking, well, we'll block here. If they want to spend a counter to kill our Crane, that's fine. Sure. Please land off the top. There we go. That's a little bit better. Right, let's reverse engineer now. Padim's really good. Let's go ahead and cast our Renegade Map. So we're not dead on board, which is nice. They could Thrashing Brontodon next turn. Let's see, what do we discard? I think we're going to discard a commit. Or they could do it in response to Padim. There's a Jade Light Ranger. Would very much like it if they would not leave up mana for Brontodon this turn. Seems kind of unlikely. Yep, taking 6. Alright, so they do have mana up. The question is there any of this stuff that they're willing to sack Brontodon to kill at this point? Let's see, let's do that. See, we don't have a statuary out. We could play the statuary, which would actually pay for itself with Padim. I think we're going to do that. They will probably blow it up with the Brontodon. Kind of think that's okay at this point. Let's go ahead and improvise with you since you're almost certainly getting destroyed. Alright, they chose not to. Maybe they have removal for Padim in hand. Angel of Invention, I mean, that's a lot of damage. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Alright. So Ornithopter can block here. Then we'll take 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We could take up to 10. If we block with Padim, they can kill Padim. So unfortunately, I think it is blocking the Brontodon with Ornithopter. Hopefully I haven't badly mathed this. Okay, looks like I haven't. I guess we'll gain the life first. Not that it really matters too much. Baral's expertise is really nice. Alright, another map. So we're going to play our island. So we can Baral's expertise. I think we just want to bounce their stuff. Probably not the Angel. Because then they could play it and get servos. Of course, they put the counters on it this time. So we can Baral's, bounce this. Bounce Servant. Bounce Llanowar Elves. Play our Reservoir. Yeah, I think we're going to do that. So you bounce you. You. We will improvise. Thanks to Statuary. Alright, Reservoir for free. Got Padim to protect it. Alright. So we can reverse engineer, so we're going to do that. Get some reservoir triggers here. Unfortunately, I think we may still just be dead. Maybe we should have bounced this Angel. I can block here. Angel of Sanctions. So we are dead. Yep. Didn't really matter what we did there. Good game, opponent. Alright, well, we won one match. Guess we'll take our prizes since we managed to lose 2, which is not unexpected. Sure, thank you. Think we may play one more match, just see how this shapes up. This is an okay-ish hand. It's not great, but again, 18 lands, we're going to keep it. We do have Prophetic Prism to draw some cards. We can land Inspiring Statuary. Really, we just need a Reservoir. Renegade Map, huh? I actually think we're going to push that to the bottom. We'll end the turn. We are going to need another island at some point. Looks like we're up against a green deck again. Alright, there's our island. Still think we'll go with the Scry land here. Another Prophetic Prism. Yeah, we're going to push that as well. Play out our Prism. Hopefully resolve Statuary next turn and have it stick. We got a Reverse Engineer. So if the opponent doesn't kill us fast, we've got a chance. Alright, there's a Branch Walker. Looks like perhaps it's mono green Stompy here. Found a forest. Alright, and they haven't got an incredibly fast clock yet. So we will go ahead and resolve our Inspiring Statuary. Make casting Baral's Expertise a whole lot easier. If we could top deck an Aetherflux Reservoir, that would be awesome. Of course, opponent could be running some number of Brontodons. These green decks usually do, especially the mono green. There's Heart of Kiran. Alright, taking 3 here. We could see a Galta as early as next turn, unfortunately. See, we'll go Island. Going to play out our Mox Amber for Improvise. Reverse Engineer. Go ahead and improvise that. Draw 3. Yeah, that's not exactly what we were hoping to hit. We may have to Baral's Expertise just to bounce a bunch of threats next turn. We have drawn too many lands. Well, there's a Brontodon, unfortunately. So I expect them to crew and then use it to blow up our Inspiring Statuary. Taking 7, going to 9. They didn't, though. So let's get an island out. We need more blue sources. Then we will Baral's Expertise. We're going to bounce Heart of Kiran, Brontodon, and Llanowar Elves. We will improvise. There we go. Alright, they let their Brontodon be bounced. So do we want a paradoxical outcome or throw out this other Inspiring Statuary? I think we are going to outcome. And we'll bounce these two. Right, Traveler's Amulet. Well, we're going to play our Mox Amber back out. Play our Prophetic Prism back out and play this Traveler's Amulet. We got another paradoxical outcome, so we could play that again next turn if need be. Still in very great need of an Aetherflux Reservoir. Of course, they have the means to remove that card in Brontodon if they replay it here, which I expect they will. No, Ripjaw Raptor, so we do have a chance here. Go ahead and let them attack us for 2. Say 4, 5, 6, 7. We are absolutely dead next turn if we just pass here. Let's play Prophetic Prism. Metallic Rebuke. That doesn't help us. Alright. Prophetic Prism. Mox Amber also doesn't help us. There is basically nothing we can do here, because we've already played our land. We could Paradoxical Outcome, but with only 1 blue, I don't think there's anything we could do. Baral's Expertise takes 2 blue, so we're just going to concede. Just not show them any more of our deck. Alright, that was unfortunate. I thought we really had a chance that game. We just had things come together. So I think Commit to Memory is definitely a good cut for us. Then we'll also cut 1 Glint Nest Crane and bring in all of these Padeems. River's Rebuke might be a good card to bring in. Just reluctant to cut too many. I think we'll just go with this and just hope to have a bit better luck with the draws and things. Alright, well we've got the Reservoir this time. We've also got some good artifacts. We've got Metallic Rebuke. We're going to keep this. We can hold up Metallic Rebuke starting on turn 2 with this hand. See if the opponent has the Elf start. They do, so we will definitely want to Metallic Rebuke the 3-drop if they have it to play. So we'll play that. So we have enough mana here with the Metallic Rebuke. We could actually reverse engineer here. Maybe that's better? Actually, now that I think about it, I think that that is better. Let's just draw 3 on turn 2. Seems pretty good to me. Alright, Inspiring Statuary. We'll hold this Ornithopter. Well, there's a Still Leaf Champion. At least it's not a Brontodon. Can't really block that in any case. Let's go with Prophetic Prism. Another land. We've still got Metallic Rebuke available. Let's pass the turn. Alright, we're going to be taking 5 here. Ronus, we will counter. At least slow the opponent down a little bit. Go to our turn. There's a Scry land. See what we can see. Paradoxical Outcome. We want that. So let's resolve an Inspiring Statuary. And without Barals and everything, we can still try to go off next turn. With that Paradoxical Outcome that's on top. As long as they don't play a Brontodon and leave up mana to be able to sacrifice it. Alright, taking 5 again, going to 10. There's a Walking Ballista. So we don't have to worry about artifact removal. They could shoot an Ornithopter if they want to here. I assume that they will. Let's go Ornithopter. Actually, I should have played the Reservoir first. That was 1 life gain that we missed there. Actually, 2 life gain that we missed. So if we fall short by 2 life, that is my fault. Well, let's Paradoxical Outcome. Bounce everything that's not integral to the combo. Improvise it. Hopefully we'll draw some more 0-cost artifacts. Is opponent going to kill an Ornithopter? They are not. Thank you. There's 1 Mox Amber. Alright, let's see if we have lost this due to my silliness in not playing the Reservoir before the Ornithopter. Alright, Ornithopter. Up to 22. Ornithopter. Up to 28. Another Thopter. Up to 35, so not quite to lethal range this turn, but at least we're safe life total wise. Please do not have an artifact kill spell, opponent. If we can survive and get Padim down, I think we're going to be in good shape. Alright, looks like we're getting attacked For 7, we are not going to block. We don't want our Ornithopters to die. They want to shoot one of them with the Walking Ballista. There's not a lot we can do about that. It's looking like they don't have artifact removal. That is not either. Awesome. Let's start with this. Baral's expertise. That would be useful. So let's Prophetic Prism to draw that expertise. Then we will expertise, targeting Ornithopter, Mox Amber. Go ahead and improvise for that. Opponent may decide to kill one of these Ornithopters this time. Yep, looks like they are. Add a counter there. Yep, losing an Ornithopter. I think we've still got this, though. Alright, we will play Padim for free. So now they have to deal with her before they can deal with our reservoir. Let's play this stuff back out. Up to 38. Up to 43, which was 5, so 6 will not get us there. But we have 2 Renegade maps. 49. And lethal. Well, we've won at least one game of this match. We could pull out one more and get 2 match wins with this deck. That would be incredibly awesome. Let's give it a go. We're just going to ship it again. Alright, we've technically got 2 lands. We've also got 2 Metallic Rebukes, which could be good. We don't have Inspiring Statuary or Aetherflux Reservoir, unfortunately. We've got a Scry. I think we're going to keep this, especially on the draw. Hopefully we can get there. Most likely we'll get our face stomped in, but we do what we were signing up for when we submitted this deck. Is this going to be the 3rd game in a row with a first turn elf? It is not. Awesome. We got an island. That also is quite good. Reservoir, yeah, we need that. Let's go for Renegade map here. Then next turn we can hold up Metallic Rebuke. Alright, Hotshep Oasis into nothing. That seems very good for us. We've got enough here to cast our Metallic Rebuke, but I might want to sack this Renegade map. No, probably not. If we do, we can do it on our turn. So let's pass back. We will counter that. Just keep your clock off the table. Alright, stuck on 2 lands. That seems good for us. So we do want to crack this. We need 1 more land for Padim. Play you out. Going to hold this Mox Amber again for now. We've got enough mana for our Metallic Rebuke. Elves, you can have an elf. Alrighty. Well, slowly getting there. We have to play the Amber to hold up Metallic Rebuke here, so we'll do that. Because Renegade map comes into play tapped. Steel Leaf Champion. Do we care about that? I guess we do. We're going to be spending everything, or nearly everything, next turn, so we might as well get some use out of this Metallic Rebuke. Would have liked to have countered a Bronodon, but I think we take our advantages where we can get them. There's an Ornithopter. So let's reverse engineer. Actually, we could play Padim out here. I do think we go for another land. We've got an Ornithopter so that we can still improvise. So let's play that. Play that. Then we will improvise this. Holding up a blue. Nothing to cast with it. Well, we were hoping we could have drawn another Renegade map or a Traveler's Amulet. There's the Brontodon, unfortunately, but fortunately we have Padim, so if they want to kill something with this, they're going to have to do it with Padim on the stack unless they have removal for her. Taken one. We get to keep making our land drops here. Let's go for Padim. If they want to blow something up, Mox Amber is the best here because once Padim resolves, well, Padim resolves, so we get to also Glintnest Crane because our Mox Amber actually produces mana now. Alright, I would have loved to have had one of those expertises, but I guess we'll take a Prophetic Prism. And definitely not going to attack here. Ronus, sure. Another Brontodon. Perfectly fine. Don't have enough mana up to pump with Ronus. So we can safely block here. Yep. Get to draw a card with Padim. Draw for turn. Inspiring Statuary, huh? So we'll play our land. We could go Aetherflux Reservoir. They have to kill Padim before they can kill the Reservoir. Then we can play Ornithopter. We don't have Inspiring Statuary out, so we can't improvise that. But we can improvise a Reverse Engineer. Yeah, I think we just play Reservoir here. Go with Ornithopter. Go with Reverse Engineer. We will improvise. Alright, didn't get another 0 cost. So we will pass the turn. I think we're in decent shape to go off completely next turn as long as they can't manage to kill Padim here. Well, there's Zagalta. So that's really scary, but I think we're still going to be able to do this. As long as we don't brick off too badly on this paradoxical outcome. Okay, we're going to block with our Crane on Ronus. Do need to keep our life total as high as possible so that we have to storm less to get to above 50. Alright, no pumps on the Brontodons, thankfully. There is Walking Ballista, which can't kill Padim, which is the most important thing for us. Draw another Reservoir. Draw an island. Alright, I think we want as much blue mana as we can get. We'll play Inspiring Statuary because it lets us pay the same mana as we would without playing it because of Improvise here. So let's Paradoxical Outcome. And we'll bounce these three. Actually, cancel. I think we want to play Prophetic Prism first. Yeah, let's do that. And now we will outcome. Bounce those. Submit. We will improvise. Timer's always an issue when we're going off. I didn't quite draw the 0 costers that we were hoping for, but we may still be able to get to a decent life total here. Mox Amber, this produces mana. Actually, I did that wrong. I could have floated a mana from Mox Amber and improvised with the Prophetic Prism, so we should be up 1 more mana than we actually are here. So that's my bad, but we still got this Glint Nest Crane, and we only need 1 more trigger to be able to get above 50. Ornithopter gets us there. All we need's 1 more. Awesome. 50 damage. Alright, so there it is. As I said, not a very good deck, though incredibly fun when it actually does what it's supposed to do. As always, the deck list will be in the description below if you would like to check it out for yourself. Just don't let your expectations be too high for it. If you don't really care about having a positive win percentage, just want to jam a really fun deck that occasionally does super degenerate stuff, then this deck is definitely up your alley. That being said, thank you so much for watching. I do hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, let me know in the comments and by leaving a like below. It really does help tremendously. And of course, subscribe if you'd like to see more in the future. I have been Tevaron, and until next time, friends, be excellent to each other.